Welcome everyone back to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son, George. I was my mother's caregiver after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Unfortunately, she passed on 1/1/2020, so we started TogetherForSharon.com in her memory. Today, I have some really incredible guests, individuals who truly inspire me, but also something that I saw was kind of rare, which was really targeting and trying to aid those in the Jewish population. I myself am Jewish American from Brooklyn, New York. So that sounds ironic. Everybody in Brooklyn, but I thought that this is very important because as a Jewish male, we need the word out in the Jewish community and, of course, around the world. And I don't see it. This is the only organization. And I always tell everyone, challenge them. Please email me if I'm incorrect, because I do the research. But please let me know if you see others out there. But LifeSpark to me means a lot. So we're going to really get in depth about that. So I wanted to welcome Rabbi Moshe here and also Paulette, who I, again, consider, I say it a lot, but it's true, consider family in this fight for a cure. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a great honor to have you here. I mean, we've kind of talked for some time. It's incredible when I look back. It's already been a year since we met, and it goes fast. So we don't have a lot of time, and we do need a lot of time because we have to end this disease and find a cure. So if we can just get right into, maybe both of you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
I had Parkinson's for 18 years already. I'm up to the dyskinesia part, but even I'm with the dyskinesia, I'm considered very, very good because I'm still working, going ahead and funding the organization, is on the board to make sure that the consultations that we do for people, that they come away being felt for as cared and really come away that they feel a hope. And that's what we do, what I do. The exercise in this class, I'm constantly making sure that that feeling of caring about the patient is there.
Thank you.
My name is Paulette Laniado, and I'm the patient liaison for LifeSpark. I've been with Rabbi Gruskin for several years now, which we'll get into it later, of how I came to be. And I'm just extremely passionate about advocating for people with Parkinson's and their families, medical referrals, really anything we can do to help make this journey, any easier that it could get. And ultimately, I still have hope. I never lose hope. There will be a cure one day.
Well, thank you both for your time, dedication, and service to the community. Why do you think there isn't enough information out there for the Jewish population in the United States?
I think because, first of all, in the Jewish population, I think, first of all, everybody, especially by the Jewish people, they like to think that it's never going to happen, and it can't be, and we like to put it in the closet, as they say. We don't, and especially since COVID, we find that it's much harder to cause a union or a group that would be able to come together and not worry about the fact that somebody's looking over the shoulders instead of doing what you need to do, exercises and coming together as a support group. So I think there's a lot of work to be done on that point in order that we should get through to people, making them understand this is an important point in order for them to get better and stay better and have a quality of life. Okay. I really feel that in order for us to be able to go ahead and, as I say, break through that brick wall of silence by the Jewish community, we have to constantly get our name out there and show that it's not so bad, it's not the end of the world, and there's hope, and there's caring, and there can be even more a sense of calmness if you feel that somebody else has it with you. And when you're together, half of the troubles go off your shoulders.
I like that sense of community.
Yeah, I'm in South Florida. Probably everyone knows. So we're a pretty strong, large Jewish population, but I don't think they have enough. We need one of your groups here permanently too, because
We
they
actually have a lot of our patients in your area.
really see that's important because my mother was, obviously also went through Parkinson, but we weren't aware much in the community. We do have, two or three major organizations that'll have a walk a year, but that's really all. So we need to, with your organization and showing a big presence here would be incredible, at least for South Florida. So I appreciate that. Maybe you could discuss, Rabbi, a little bit about, your background and being a rabbi and how Parkinson's, affects you on a daily basis.
Okay. What I started out as a Hebrew teacher, and I was a Hebrew teacher for 28 years. Then I decided I was going to go ahead and fundraise. I guess that was good for, the coming position that I was going to have. And then I started Parkinson's. Why did I start Parkinson's? Because I felt after going through the 2013 WPC in Montreal,
World Parkinson's.
the World Parkinson's Coalition, I saw that in the Jewish community, they didn't understand what we were headed for. Unfortunately, at this point, we are I'm overwhelmed and really overwhelmed because, unfortunately, what's the reason? There are many reasons, but we're unfortunately, and we have to build together in order that we should keep that sense of hope and community and being together in this and knowledge more than anything else. I have an amazing staff here that is so passionate and so caring, as you can see by Paulette, Mrs. Laniado, and Mrs. Foyer, and Mrs. Lenberg. At every conversation in the beginning, when the person calls us, the first thing that everybody speaks about is the caring that they feel from the conversation. That is the most important thing by me. The first touch base to my organization. And I constantly pound on this, that we have to realize that we have to give them a sense, I am somebody, not what the world thinks.
Thank you. And Paulette, maybe you can also jump in on your background and also, what sets LifeSpark apart from other organizations.
Yeah, sure. So I've always kind of been in the medical fields a little bit. I'm a phlebotomist, I'm an IV tech, I'm a medical assistant. And I actually, run an organization as a volunteer position in my community. And we do phlebotomy and IV for a lot of geriatric patients to keep them out of the hospital. So that's really how I got involved in kind of, caring for people with all different diseases. It was during COVID, actually. Rabbi Gruskin gave me a call. My brother is his physical therapist for rehab. So Rabbi Gruskin gave me a call and he goes, your brother mentioned that you could help me with a patient of yours. I said, okay, how can I help? So I happen to have Crohn's and colitis myself, so I'm very knowledgeable in the whole, gastro aspect of that. And he said, well, I have a patient that has Parkinson's and now she just got diagnosed with Crohn's. And every time she goes to her gastro, she goes on certain medications, they do certain therapies, and her Crohn's feels better, but then her Parkinson's acts up. And every time she goes to the neurologist and she goes on the medications for that, then her Parkinson's kind of quiets down, but then her Crohn's acts up. And what do we do? So we actually connected this patient together with a full care team, which is something I've done several times before. And before you know, one patient became another patient, until we just came on full time.
That's incredible. And the way you manage things, it's I've seen, because this might not have happened if it wasn't for your amazing hard work and late hours, because you're always right back at me.
Thank you.
And then something else important for both of you, Rabbi, how do you manage? You mentioned it's not easy because of the times, obviously, but how do you manage dealing with Parkinson's diagnosis plus trying to run a major organization? I agree with you wholeheartedly that we have to be a family in this fight. Unfortunately, I found like 1% doesn't believe that, but the 99 do. So thankfully, we're a team, and that's what we're doing here. Everyone today is really trying to get the word and message of LifeSpark out there, not just in Florida, not just in what state are you in currently?
New Jersey.
I'm from New York, so we have New Jersey, New York, and Florida represented, but we need the entire country involved, and that's what the mission is today.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always say that my motto is one word, and it's a acronym. Okay, remember that. So it's not, I'm not meant to hurt anybody, and I'm just saying it's an acronym. FAT. Now, everybody, when they hear that, fat, what's going on here? You call me fat? I say no. FAT stands for fighting. You fight the disease, not when you get up in the morning. First thing you worry about, oh, Parkinson's. No. You think, what am I going to accomplish today? That's how you fight. A is attitude. Minimize, my way of minimizing it is I'm making a joke out of it. When I shake, I tell people, okay, I'm shaking up the world. Or I can make a milkshake faster than you can. These are things that minimize to me my disease so that I can get faster. And then T is therapy. Doing therapy, but constant, consistently, and an intensive schedule for the exercise. That is my way that I keep on going.
Thank you. And I'm going to just share as we continue this important discussion. So you should be seeing it now. But first, I want to thank you for interviewing with me in the past. And like I said, it was July last year. It's incredible how time flies. So I want to thank you for that. Everyone, you can visit TogetherForSharon.com, click interviews, and you can see the rabbi much more in depth about his background, about the mission of LifeSpark, and so much more. So feel free to share that. This is more on the rabbi and what I really want to try to touch on now. If both of you can kind of tell us a little bit more in depth and about the mission of LifeSpark.
Yeah.
Okay. When I started the Parkinson's, I felt that there was missing knowledge, there was a missing sense of unity, and there was missing the happiness that a person should feel with just being able to walk around, breathe, go, do anything. I don't care if you have limitations, but being happy with what you have. And that is an important message that I want to go through. Because with unity and group and seeing everybody smile in the organization, you feel it's not so bad. There's hope. There's something to do. Wow. Okay. I won't have to get so nervous. And that in itself is the biggest help.
Thank
And
you.
that's what my main focus, my mission is in everything that I do.
And I'll just tell you a little bit about what the organization offers. And something, first of all, that actually sets us apart, in my opinion, is that any medical professional that we're going to refer out is someone that we 1000% absolutely would send our own family members to. And a lot of the staff does have a, correlation, a family member with Parkinson's here. So we're not just referring out to, oh, here's a neurologist that has an opening. We don't do that. And it starts from the top, from a neurologist all the way, to a physical therapist, an occupational therapist. It doesn't matter what the medical professional is. If we're referring them out, we've done such intensive research and we absolutely feel confident sending our own family to them. We offer Parkinson's specific exercise classes in the center. We offer one-on-one consultations. So every patient that calls us up, whether they're newly diagnosed, whether they've been diagnosed for years, or they're just in the process of getting diagnosed, we sit down, we meet with them, we give them all the information, we start with symptoms, we go down to which specialist you need. You don't have this insurance, here's this grant that could help you with that. Whatever it is, we do support groups, we do educational events that are always virtual. They're every other Sunday, once a month on a Sunday. They're always virtual, so anyone could just sign up to join. And we have all different medical professionals just educating and, advocating and speaking to everyone and explaining to them different diseases and different symptoms that people with Parkinson's may experience and how to go about it. Really, our motto we always say over here is, some people say, what do you guys do? And we say, anything that we could do in our power to help you, that's what we're going to do. how can we help? What do we need? What do you need from us? And then we'll try and make that happen.
I just want to add on one more thing that I feel. Excuse me. One more thing I think that should be added is that we constantly try to go ahead and make sure that every person should feel as if he's a person, because what he looks like in the world is that, oh, he's I don't know how else, poor guy, and that is something that bothers me, because we have to understand this is a person, not a person with a disease with a person, but a person with a disease.
And again, we are a nonprofit organization. So yes, we do, gear towards the Orthodox Jewish community, as that's, the community that Rabbi Gruskin is gearing to, but we don't turn anyone away. They don't have to be Orthodox. They don't have to be Jewish. Anyone could call our organization and, get our services, get help from our services that we provide.
Thank you. And I think it's incredible, all the services you do provide. So it's our job, everyone listening, please share this and support both the Rabbi and Paulette and their organization and mission. Go to LifeSparkPD.com. Again, I'll share that with everyone in the notes, but I really, again, grateful for all the opportunities and the different types of things, from consults to telephone support. A lot of this I wish, again, my mother and I had. We kind of felt alone, myself as a caregiver and my mother battling the disease. And that's one of the issues and problems, which is why I got into awareness and advocacy. As you probably know, I don't accept money, but I do accept that people know they're never alone. So we need to make sure that they're all aware of what you're doing and the incredible and inspiring things that you do each and every day. So again, thank you for that. So please, again, everyone, LifeSparkPD.com.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us, George.
Thank you, George. Wow, that was really something.
We're not done. We still have a lot to go.
No problem.
So now what I do is I shift to, so we've discussed obviously your background and LifeSpark and the incredible things you're doing. So what I like to do towards the end is shift a little bit more about both of you. I always say, unfortunately, Parkinson does take things from us, but it can never take the better memories. I don't know if you had the chance yet to see my book, but the cover of my book is actually my mother and me when we danced at my wedding, which was one of my most favorite memories. And I
read your book. It was amazing. We ordered 2 copies for the office.
We ordered 2 copies for the office.
Appreciate it. But that moment, Parkinson didn't exist for those 3 minutes. It was just my mother and I, and we were dancing. She was smiling, and that's one memory that it can never take. So we're gonna keep making memories, and even out of the darkness has come some incredible light, like meeting both of you and your incredible organization. So thank you both again.
Thank you.
We get to the fun time, but hopefully you think it's fun, but these are just some more enlightening questions and not really geared. I mean, they do talk about advocacy. So we'll try and do this. I've usually done with 2 people. So if both of you can take turns and list 3 words that describe who you are. I can always pass and come back.
3 words. Lively.
Definitely.
Aggressive towards helping people, and very caring.
I love the middle one. I mean, they're all great, but I like the middle one because I am the same way. You have to be, when I learned about both of you, I was like, my heart stopped for a minute because I was so inspired and excited to get the world to know about you. And I'm thankful that you responded, because there are people who just are kind of not sure what to do, which is odd. Because like I said, and I believe if we don't do this together, we're going to be further from a cure. But I always say the only journey that breaks my heart today is the one that I don't know about. So again, thank you for that. What about you, Paulette? I'll put you on the spot here.
I don't know, I'm like thinking,
I
I would
trying to get away with that.
I would say passionate, interested. I'm always interested in hearing about, patients and cures and stuff like that. Passionate, interested. It's a tough one. Empathetic.
Thank you. And I'll try and mix up the questions, so maybe the Rabbi can take this one. what is one moment or most memorable moment that stands out through all of your work so far with advocacy?
The most was after the 2013 WPC World Coalition. I realized that there is hope and what to do. That was such a, like, I was shot out of the cannon.
Mhm.
That for me, that was the moment to get going.
I also hope my health is up and so is everyone else to hopefully see you in Arizona in 2026. That'll be a beautiful.
Yeah.
God willing, God willing, God
I
willing.
just hope I work too much. That's tough to get. If I do come, I'll have to have 7 laptops in the hotel room and no one will probably even get to see me. I'll run and get a picture and right back to work. So anyway, but so this one is now for Paulette. This is another interesting one, but what are some of the projects at LifeSpark you're all currently working on?
So that's actually a fascinating question. That's something that I like. So I like to say we always research over here. You know, nothing is out of our reach. For instance, there's something we're very passionate about right now, whereas we don't understand why there has to be a therapy break for people with Parkinson's. And we won't just be quiet about it. So we've contacted Michael J. Fox Foundation. We've said, how do we get this to the Capitol? How do we get this, you know, to the government? So things like that. If there's anything that we feel that needs to be done, even though we are a small nonprofit organization based out of Little New Jersey, it won't stop us. We will realize when we have the potential to handle it ourselves and advocate on ourselves. And we'll realize when we, you know, we're too small for this, we have no problem giving it further to someone bigger than us. Our goal is really just to help people with Parkinson's. So no matter how that happens, that's what we're going to do.
I appreciate that. Next area is for the rabbi. Uh, I, being a caregiver meant the world to me. You know, I don't think I'd be the man I am or have the accomplishments if it wasn't for my mother's sacrifice as a child. She actually was a school teacher, had a master's, and literally gave it all up to raise me and my brother. So I knew when it was time to step up as a man, I needed to, and I'm proud of the moments we had together. Not happy we didn't find the cure in time, but during your times of struggle, since I was a caregiver, what tips can you give those listening to caregivers, and who do you kind of lean on in addition to Paulette, but you know, in your life when you're kind of running this organization and dealing with this diagnosis?
Okay, the answer is one word.
Sure, that's
My
easy.
wife.
I knew it. That's
I'm
easy.
being serious. If not for her, I would be in a wheelchair today. No questions about it. I have it 18 years, and because of her, there's no question about it. I am where I am today. She is in a unique position that when there are consultations, she's able to relate to every single type of caregiver and give them a perspective of how they should view Parkinson's, and everybody appreciates. And I am the bonus that gets from her, because she looks at it as we're in this together. We joke about it a lot. But I want you to know more than anything besides the joking, I have become a better person because of Parkinson's. It took me 10 years, George, but now I'm thankful that I had it. You won't believe it, but I'm thankful that I have it. Why? Because I've become more empathetic, I've become more caring, and I've become more willing to be aggressive for other people, which I was a little small mouth. You know, a little small mouth that never opened up his mouth. But when it came to this, all of a sudden, I was willing to really go beyond my boundaries. So I really appreciate what I have today.
Well, we send our love to your wife and your whole family, and our love and support, because it's like you said, it's a community. It's not just the one individual diagnosed, but it has to be the family and the community. And I feel very similar. I wouldn't be able to have gone through my caregiving or my advocacy today if it wasn't for my wife and children. There's days, even the picture of my cover of the book is tough, because that was a moment I wish I could have again. And even on holidays, Jewish holidays and on, we don't have a seat at the table anymore for her. So I don't think, and also because of people like you both and everyone out there listening, I'm still grieving even 4 years later, but I only can keep fighting because of all of you. So I'm grateful forever for that.
Yes.
Paulette, maybe you can talk. You probably are an expert on this, but likely someone listening might have just been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Do you have any advice you might be able to provide?
I do. So I say that when someone gets an initial diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, we have to first put ourselves in their headspace and understand how they're feeling. So they may feel that they physically can't breathe because their thoughts are just so clouded. You know, there was one doctor, it was actually not with Parkinson's, it was with something else, but it really does pertain to every disease. And what he does is when he diagnoses a patient with a chronic illness, he tells them, you know, he sits them down very gently and he says, this is your diagnosis. And he gives them a little bit of information about it. His name is Dr. Lawrence Herman. He's great. And then he says, I want you to breathe. I want you to think about it. I want you to write down questions and then come back. We'll have another appointment in a week. And what that does is it gives the patient the time to process the quality of life that is going to be changed for now, the questions that they may have instead of just being so overwhelmed. And, you know, when someone first gets diagnosed, it's like a million thoughts going through their head. Now what? You know, so it gives them time to write down their questions. It gives them time to breathe, you know, this new quality of life, get used to the new quality of life, and then come back and deal with it. But I will tell you this, it is extremely, extremely overwhelming initially with diagnosis. No one is going to take that away from you. No one's going to take that away from anyone. But with the proper guidance, and if you have someone holding your hand, then you can actually, there will be a day where you could say, all right, I got this, you know? And it's hard because a lot of neurologists, they don't really understand what the big deal is. They say it's not fatal, so they don't have that, you know, that the empathy, so to speak, when they diagnose a person, which in my opinion is very wrong. It's a very big diagnosis. But you will come to that point where you will be able to handle it and it will just become a new type of life, you know? There could be a quality life with Parkinson's, just a new type of life, and it could be a beautiful life.
Thank you. And I don't know why, but the tougher questions keep coming back to the rabbis. The next question, if this is kind of the opposite of the most memorable, but is there anything different you would have done today looking back the last 10 years?
You wanna hear a joke?
Oh, please.
If I would have known what it became today, I would have run the other way.
That's a good one.
Because it's so overwhelming, unfortunately.
So next one we move to, again, here's an interesting one. If you were asked to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you call it? That's one of my favorite. That's the question no one can answer.
Oh, wow. I feel like it would be something along the lines of, you know, so much in so little time or something like that. Like, I feel like things that we go through, especially health things, they kind of make us feel way older than we are, but in a way we do gain the experience. You know what I mean? We gain that experience that an older person only has. So it would be something to that effect of like, you know, so much knowledge in so little time or something like that.
Thank you. What about you, Rabbi? So if you were asked to write a script about a movie of your life story, what would you call it?
I would say that I would love to do more, much more, have visions of library that I want.
What's the title?
Library of Parkinson's virtual library. I have visions of making a pool of business people who have Parkinson's that are thrown out of their place of work because they're too slow, and making you know, part of it you know, pay them, and part of it you know, subsidized. Getting businessmen involved in this pool. I have other many types of things. I want to make a pool, you know, for swimming. There's so much that I still want to do.
So would you call it like the visionary or
I
something?
would say I would love to be a visionary with the amount of financial backing that I could keep on going without worrying about financial backing. Just doing what I need to do. And I feel that there's so much more that needs to be done.
I agree. I think having vision and keep pushing to it, but keep coming up with new ideas. It's not always easy, especially when you need funding. But we didn't start a foundation on purpose because we want to help other organizations like yours.
Okay.
But my big thing is I'm alone. It's just me. So some days it's tough. I might look like some people think we're a giant organization. If it's just me, and I'm always trying to think of new ideas. I actually thought of one today. Maybe we could do it. But I was thinking taking this podcast not on the road, but in a way on the road. So let's say you have a live event, I can actually come in for a half hour and we can talk at your event and I can share it around the world. So I'm thinking
Great.
That's a great idea.
I
Great
probably
idea.
should say it. It's now taped and live so everyone can hear that, my secret.
Yeah.
But
I
I'm
just want to.
I want to do that with more of the groups like you, all the grassroots. And again, no offense to the big ones, but my passion is for, LifeSpark, for a drive toward a cure, for power over Parkinson's, and a lot of the smaller ones that really can make a bigger difference in the world. But we need, to team up together. So
I just want to tell you that I forgot because of my thought, when you're Parkinson's, you don't, sometimes the thought gets lost and then it comes back. So I'm very open about it. So what I want to tell you is that one of the things that I want very much is that the first few people that come to here to this center should feel we're in a mess that takes care of us. That's what I want.
I appreciate it. And then I wanted to give you a minute, but before we do that, to talk about anything you wanted to touch on that I might have covered. If you could both one at a time, I guess, or in unison, whatever you'd like. If you could leave the Parkinson's community with some words of encouragement, what would they be?
Words of encouragement is you can do it. There's what to do and you can do it. And there's hope. Now, it's always hope. It always depends on your end. If you want your attitude, just go out and fight and you'll get there. That's my encouragement.
Thank you.
And I kind of, usually say that there's two types of people. There's the people that they flourish in support groups, and then there's the people that find the support groups like a little, kind of like depressing. Yeah, restricting. I say find who you are, define who you are. You don't need a major support group to get through it if that's not your type. But you do gotta tell somebody, you do have to talk to somebody in order to get off your chest. So whether it's a friend, whether it's a spouse, doesn't matter who it is. You want to get through this disease, you got to share it with someone.
Thank you. Thank you both. And is there any areas that you wanted to touch on before we wrap up that I didn't get to?
I'd like to actually, there's one, it's kind of like a pet peeve of mine, is the stigma. There's so much stigma with illness and with Parkinson's in general. I'm a firm believer that the more that we make we make something known in the world, the more advocacy we'll have, the more publication, publicity it gets. That's ultimately how we'll get a cure. Even though we deal with Parkinson's over here, as a researcher of the organization, I'm constantly in talks with all different neurology, IMALS and all that. It doesn't only have to be Parkinson's specific. And the reason why I do that and I spend my time with that is because I believe that if we all band together, we all join together and we all advocate together and we publicize each other, then there will be a cure eventually for one neurodisease, and then that neurodisease will open up the door for another neurodisease cure. And then, that's our goal. Our goal is to get everybody cured. So I think the more we break the stigma, the closer we are to a cure. And something like this is amazing for that, like your podcast.
And George, I just want to tell you, now you know why I made her as my patient liaison.
I really appreciate both of your time, friendship, and again, everything you do means the world to me, my family, and so many out there. And hopefully, even if I always say, if we just reach one person today, we've changed the world for them forever. Thank you both again for joining us today. Please visit lifesparkpd.com. Please visit TogetherForSharon, click interviews. You'll see more on the Rabbi. And I don't, again, hope this is not the end of this, because I don't think we can stop this conversation until we find a cure.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us. It was a great pleasure.
I have one last message for both of you and everyone listening. We love you. We support you. We care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with the Rabbi and Paulette, will advocate for you, and together our voices are so much stronger. And I always say I'm just getting started, because literally a year ago, I was kind of on my own journey trying to figure out how to help others. Because I realized when I heard about the World Parkinson Congress only 2 years ago, that's 2 years after my mother passed, I was in a weird unawareness world where I thought there was 1 million people in the US and that was it. When I found out there were 10 million around the world, something clicked in my brain and said, this is not about me and my mother only anymore. That's when I found you both. thankfully, thank God, thank everyone that you responded. And now here we are, you know, a year later, doing this and hopefully so much more. So both of you are really my heroes, and just keep fighting, and you'll know that we're always right by your side, even if you're in New Jersey and I'm from Brooklyn.
Thank you.
The world's very small place. We're all
Yeah,
connected.
we're all there.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Again, please share this. Please support Paulette and the Rabbi. It's very important to get this message out. There are some people, many people who need them right now, and they're just not aware. So we can change that. So thank you again. It's been another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son, George. Stay tuned. There's a lot of happening in the news. The national plan to end Parkinson's is finally law, but now the work begins. You need to still contact your legislators, because we all know if you're not on top of this, implementation is just another world. So we have a lot of things still, again, work to do until we find a cure. So thank you both. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and please keep fighting. You're not alone. Thank you all.
Thank you, Matt.